Hello and welcome to the Brisbane Kokoda Challenge briefing presentation video. From all of us at the Kokoda Youth Foundation, we would like to thank you for stepping up and taking on the challenge in 2021. As you are no doubt aware, the COVID-19 pandemic hit our organisation hard last year, causing the cancellation of all our Kokoda Challenge events and our Kokoda Challenge youth programs. This is our rebound year and we are delighted that so many competitors and school teams have signed up and are supporting our events again in 2021. Of course, COVID is still impacting all of us and this virtual briefing presentation is evidence of that. We were unable to locate a hall in the Greater Brisbane region that was willing to take 500 people at one time, so we are moving our information evening online, and I do hope that you are able to find all the information you need to come out and successfully compete in the Brisbane Kokoda Challenge. Today, our team from the head office will give you a rundown of what to expect in the Brisbane Kokoda Challenge, from pre-registration to the start line, to support crew parking, to water supply, and even toilet behaviour on the Kokoda Challenge course. Before we get started on that valuable information, it is important to understand who the Kokoda Youth Foundation is. Many of you may not be aware, but we are actually a charity, not an event management company. And we were formed 17 years ago by our founder and chair, Doug Henderson, and his wife, Anna. As a charity, we raise funds to help Aussie teens reach their full potential through the youth programs that we offer and facilitate. We are entirely self-funded from the funds raised in our Kokoda Challenge events. When Doug formed this charity back in 2004, his aim was twofold. One, to help young Aussie kids who seem to be getting a bad rap in the media, and two, to raise awareness of the significance of the battle that took place on the Kokoda track in Papua New Guinea in 1942. His aim was not to raise awareness about war, but the spirit that was displayed by Australian diggers and how that spirit inevitably protected the democracy we all share today. To tell you a little bit more about Kokoda Spirit, it is my pleasure to introduce the Chair and Founder of the Kokoda Youth Foundation, Doug Henderson.
Hi, I'm Doug. In 1942, an extraordinary military campaign took place along the Kokoda track. The 39th Militia, a group of men that hadn't been able to get in the AIF because they were too old, they were too young, they had flat feet, while they weren't medically fit, was sent off to Port Moresby to help repair and build an airfield and maintain the armaments around Port Moresby for an imminent attack by the Japanese. The militia were not ready for battle. Many of them had never fired a gun. Many of them didn't have arms when they first arrived in Port Moresby. However, in July, the Japanese landed at Buna on the northeastern coast of New Guinea. The 39th Militia, who were the only troops in New Guinea, were dispatched along a little known track that has become known as the Kokoda track. A track where a fierce battle took place over the next several months. A battle that stopped the Japanese along with Milne Bay. The Japanese were turned around at a place called Imida Ridge. It was the last time that the Japanese had any hope of taking New Guinea or Australia. At Isaraba, a few weeks earlier, a great battle had taken place when the 39th Militia had held the Japanese off over a number of days before they were reinforced by the 2nd 14th. Australia's first VC, Bruce Kingsbury, was awarded posthumously the Victoria Cross at Imida Ridge for his courage, his endurance, his sacrifice, and more than any, his mateship. All of those values are things that you need to think about when you're out there tackling any of our events, because they're all tough. You'll need to draw on your mateship, on the courage that you all have, on the endurance that you need, and you need to make sacrifices to help one another. So congratulations on signing up for one of our events. We're all supporting the Kokoda Youth Foundation. Look forward to seeing you out there, and remember, you're not being shot at, you don't have diarrhea, you're going to have a great support crew waiting for you at the next checkpoint. So just draw on what the diggers did and you'll be fine. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Naomi and I have the privilege of being the Youth Services Manager here at Kokoda Youth Foundation. I just wanted to say hi, welcome, and thank you so much for what you're doing and your efforts and your training and your fundraising and all those things. I wanted to just explain a little bit as to where those funds raised actually go. As Joe mentioned before, a lot of people think that we're just an event company, but we actually are way more than that. We work with young people, at-risk, disengaged young people in the community that might be doing a little bit tough, and we run these amazing programs with them. And they're absolutely life-changing, these programs, and we wouldn't be able to do it without your help and your support. So what we do is we train up the kids to actually do the Kokoda Challenge, and you'll be seeing them up in Brisbane. And when you see them, you'll know them because they'll all be wearing these red shirts. And they're just little champions. So when you see them doing the course, give them a big cheer, give them a big clap, and just really give them a lot of encouragement, because these young kids are amazing taking on this type of challenge. The reason this is life-changing is because they walk away from the program so empowered, and really just it changes their perspective, getting out in nature, starting to learn teamwork and working together as a team and all those sorts of things. It's just an incredible journey for the young people, and they walk away empowered and ready to tackle life's journey. One of the amazing experiences for the young people is we usually take them over to Papua New Guinea to walk the Kokoda Trail. Unfortunately this year we can't, so we're actually going to take them on a 9-day camel trek in the Flinders Ranges, which is going to be an incredible experience for myself and all of the young people that are in our program. We've also got a vision for the future with creating new programs down the track, a digital detox program, as you would know, a lot of kids need that, and a pathways program helping young people who don't really have an idea of where their future is going at the end of year 12. So supporting them with finding out what they want to do with their future too. This is an incredible organisation, and I just really want to say thank you to all of you for all of your efforts. What you're doing is really changing lives. I can't wait to see you all in Brisbane.
Hey guys, my name is Tiffany and I'm the Event Liaison Officer for the Kokoda Youth Foundation, and I'm here to speak to you guys about the fundraising component of the Kokoda Challenge. So the Brisbane fundraising component, by the time this video goes out, has already been due. If you guys haven't met that fundraising minimum, please let me know, as this is due and it is a requirement of participating in the Kokoda Challenge. So the fundraising minimum is there to allow us to run all of our programs. So as a past Kokoda kid, this is one of the most important parts of the Kokoda Challenge. So all the fundraising costs go towards us running our programs and helping us continue to change the lives of lots of young Aussies out there. So for those who have not gone ahead and completed their fundraising minimums, please let me know. These do vary from event to event, and for the schools it is different as well. So for the schools, this year we have the new Bruce Steele Kingsbury BC Award available. So this is our most prestigious cup ever, guys. So this is awarded to the team that fundraises the most overall. So that's from the Gold Coast events and the Brisbane events. So this is the one cup that you do want to win. It is our ultimate title, and we do recommend that everybody gets involved and tries to, go out and engage in their local community to fundraise more even after the event does conclude. As for our open teams, if you are the highest fundraising team, you do get free entry into our events next year. So that is very exciting. So go ahead, get out, get active in the community. Of course, every single dollar you guys raise does allow us to continue to do what we do and continue to change the lives of young Australians. So if you do have any questions regarding the fundraising, please let me know. We have lots of resources out there online. Be sure to check your dashboards under resources. Also on our website, we have a fundraising page to help inspire you guys and get you active in your local communities. So remember, it is a requirement to fundraise. It does allow us to continue to change the lives of kids, and it is all about the Kokoda Youth Foundation, not just the Kokoda Challenge as an event.
Hi everybody, my name is Andy. I'm the Event Operations Manager for the Kokoda Challenge. and I just want to go over a few points that you will need to be aware of during the course of the event. First of all, obviously this has been a strange time with COVID, and as like many organisations, we have to have a COVID event plan in place, which is very difficult when you're doing a race with so many people involved. So the important thing is if you are feeling unwell prior to the event with flu-like symptoms, please go and see your doctor and get tested. Withdrawals due to COVID will need a doctor's certificate and a COVID test certificate withdrawal from the event. On the day of the event, there will be a QR code for all spectators to sign into the event. Competitors, you have already registered through the Kokoda challenge, and so we already have your details. We will be supplying wash and sanitize stations at the checkpoints at the Brookfield Reserve, so please make sure you follow the guidelines on how to wash correctly, your hands correctly. If you feel that you are going to sneeze or cough, please make sure you do so into the crease of your elbow. We know trying to keep 1.5 meters apart will be very, very difficult at the start, so we will be incorporating wave starts to create a natural gap for competitors. When you arrive at the event, there are restricted parking areas. The Brookfield State School are allowing us to use their oval for parking, and they will be charging $5 per car to raise money for the school. There are a couple of areas that we do not want you to park, one being the car park that belongs to the local cemetery and horse and pony club. That is a restricted area, and I encourage you not to park on the roads so we can leave that available for the local residents. Pre-registration. One member of the team is required to come and collect the t-shirts and the race bibs at the pre-registration, which will be the Brookfield Hall on Brookfield Road, Brisbane. This will be open from Friday the 4th of June at 11 AM till 8 PM. It will then reopen Saturday morning at 5:30 prior to the race start. If you wanting to collect your race bibs on the week prior to the event, email tiff@info@kokodachallenge.com and make an appointment to come and collect your race items from the office at our address, which is located on our website. Start times. The 48-kilometre start will be at 7 AM, and as I mentioned earlier, we will obviously be doing wave starts. So I encourage anyone who is wanting to run the event to make it known, so as obviously you are at the front of the race, so you can get on your way quite quickly. The 30-kilometre will start at 8:30 and the 15 at 9:30. Course details, please make sure you have a copy of the course maps downloaded onto your phones, or even print off a paper copy so as you've got one readily available. The reason it's important to have the map downloaded is so obviously it gives you an indication of where you are going to from checkpoint to checkpoint, but more importantly, in case of emergencies, we will be able to locate you quite quickly if you can give us information of what checkpoint you are about to arrive to or what checkpoint you have just left. The the course is very challenging. You know, obviously we're walking through fire trails, so it's important to make sure that you have a good firm footing when you are walking, especially when you're going over rock pools and creeks. Obviously these are potential slip hazards, so it's very important to make sure that you've got a firm footing. It is also very important to make sure that you stay together as a team. This is called mateship, and that is very important that you work together and help each other. When you leave Brookfield Reserve and when you are returning for the end of the walk, heading back to Brookfield Reserve, you will be walking along Boscombe Road. Now this is a residential area, and I please ask you to make sure that when you are walking up and down this road, that you make sure that your noise levels are reduced to a low level. Especially at night time, if you happen to be walking at night, obviously noise travels a lot further during the evening, so just please be mindful and respectful of the local residents. Track marking. When you're walking along the track, what you're looking out for in the trees, etc., is markings like this. These will be located every 100 to 150 metres. They will be about 1 metre off of the ground. If you don't obviously see a track marker, you're obviously on the wrong track. So you need to head back to where you just came from until you find the track marker, and have a look around until you see the right direction. You know, the pathways are clearly marked, but you just need to be looking out for these. So if you have got reception and you're on your phone, you should have your head up looking for these. More importantly, you will also be looking for these signs. These signs will be at the major junctions on the trail to give you an indication of which way you're going. So these signs will only be at the major junctions, and it will be the ribbons that you're looking out for everywhere else. Also at the checkpoints, obviously there are checkpoints. The first one that you will come upon, which is Hillbrook, and when you get to the checkpoint, you'll be welcomed by our checkpoint captains and their staff, and they will encourage you to scan in. In your bibs behind your number there is a microchip, and so it's very important that you wear the bibs on the front of your chest, so as when you go through the timing gate, the checkpoint captain can make sure that that chip has been recognised and that you can then move on and depart towards the next checkpoint. When you get to a checkpoint, it is very important that you arrive and leave as a team. You cannot arrive individually. If you arrive at a checkpoint and your teammates are 100, 200 metres behind you, you will be asked to wait until the team arrive together and then leave together. Again, it's all about mateship, you stick together. So rules of the event, it's very important, as I just mentioned, you stay within at least 50 to 100 metres of each other. You cannot continue with less than 3 members. If 1 or 2 in the team, you must wait to join a team. Unable to join another team, you must withdraw. School teams must have an adult leader with the team at all times. And most importantly, it's not a race to get to the finish line, as importantly to be a solid team. What to do with when withdrawing? You must withdraw from a checkpoint. Inform our lovely volunteers who will advise you on how to be collected. They will advise you to contact your support crew and advise them that you are pulling out of the event. And then our volunteers will organise our Kokoda sag wagon to pick you up from the checkpoint and take you to one of the support crew areas. So the support crew area will be at Bellbird Grove, which is checkpoint 2 and 3, and also Brookfield Recreation Reserve. So you will only, if you withdraw, you'll be taken back to one of those 2 locations, but your support crew will need to be advised. In case of emergencies, it's always very important, if an emergency happens, then just dial 000 or 112. Non-emergency calls, call the number that will be located inside your race bib. So behind your number and inside your race bib there will be a mobile telephone number which you can call if you need assistance. At all checkpoints there are trained medical staff to assist you if you have any injuries or ailments. And also it's advised for you to download the emergency app. Essential items to carry. Please make sure that you have plenty of water. Most competitors drop out of our events due to dehydration, so it is very important to stay hydrated. There is water available at every checkpoint for you to refill your water bottles. Make sure that you have some food and snacks to keep you going, and most importantly make sure that you have some wet water jackets and some warm clothing, because at night time, if you happen to be walking during the evening, the temperature suddenly drops. Other important essential items to carry: a toilet roll. Even though we do have toilets at every checkpoint for you to use, some of you may get caught short, and it's important to have a toilet roll with you. The other items that you need to carry with you is a shovel, because we want you, if you do get short, to dig a hole about 30 centimeters deep. You can then do your business, and then you can then cover the hole back up. Most importantly is double check to make sure that you've covered up the area and that nothing can be seen. I cannot stress this enough. These kind of incidents in the past have nearly cost us actually running our events. So it's most important that you dig a hole deep enough, do what you need to do, and then cover. If not, I will get a DNA sample and I will find you and I will hand it back. So please make sure you do the right thing. Last important part, the environmental walk. Obviously we're walking through the national park, so please respect the national parks. Do not break branches or remove plants, and please make sure that no rubbish or food scraps are left behind. I know it is tempting that if you're eating an apple or a banana just to throw away the skin because we know it's biodegradable, but please don't. Please put it in your bag, and at every checkpoint there is a rubbish bin. We want you to then dispose it into the rubbish bin. The Kokoda Youth Foundation supports national parks, and the only footprint we want you to leave is the one from your boots. Thank you very much and enjoy the event.
G'day, it's Scott Wimpy here from First Aid, Accident and Emergency, a long-time supporter of the Kokoda Challenge and the Kokoda Youth Foundation. I've been involved in the event for over 13 years, and I've supported the event with First Aid, and I've also competed in the event with a winning time of 11 hours and 19 minutes. And I'm here today to give you some amazing tips on how to get to the finish line with you and the 3 other people in your team or your school teams. Okay, so I wanted to talk about some of the things that might impact your team, and the things mainly that we see with this event are things like blisters and ITB syndrome. So looking after someone in the team with blisters, we like to prevent the blisters by strapping the feet up prior to competing. Now this doesn't work for everybody, but we find that it works for about 85% of all competitors and anyone that walks, because the feet can get quite sweaty when you're walking over endurance events. So I wanted to show you how to tape up one of your toes, which I'm going to do now for you. So here we go. We've had a blister occur on one of the toes, so I'm just going to show you how I would strap every individual toe. First of all, I'm going to get a piece about that long, and I'm going to go directly over the toe and round the other side. Now it's important not to go too tight with this, so we just want to keep it nice and loose. And I like to do these a night before ideally, because the heat in the tape molds. Okay, the second piece I'm going to get, I'm just going to go all around the entire toe, right around the whole thing, and that just holds it in place. Now if you do this the night before an event, you can also trim off those bits, but you can also do it the day of the event as well. So band-aids generally don't stick too well, the strapping tape is the way to go for blisters. Okay, so there you have it. A lot of people ask me, when should I tape my toes? Well, there's 2 trains of thought on this. Number one, I think anything that we tell you through the management, you should try before you actually go and do the event. So ideally on your next training session would be a great time to tape up a couple of your toes to see how it feels when you're walking or jogging or getting through one of your training sessions, just to see how your feet go with the tape. As well, if you do suffer from hot spots where the foot is actually rubbing on the bottom of the shoe, now is the time to show up for your mates and make sure that you stop, dry their feet and tape their feet up. Pre-prevention of the blisters is super important as well. If you have hot spots from your feet rubbing on the bottom of your shoes when you're actually doing a training session or you're in the event itself, then it's important to stop, dry your feet. Any blisters that are smaller than a 10-cent piece, just tape straight over the top of them and continue. Anything bigger than a 10-cent piece, you should pop, give it a bit of a swab with a wound wipe, and then tape over it and continue, because we find that 1/3 of all competitors can be taken out of this event just from blisters alone. I also now want to show you how to look after someone that has ITB syndrome. So a bit of a backstory with ITB syndrome, it's not from going up the hills or on the flat, it's from coming down the hills. Now what happens is your knee locks and releases and locks and releases. So what you need to do is tape up above your knee to keep continual tension on that iliotibial band, that ITB. that can put a lot of people out of this event. So I wanted to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so with ITB syndrome, we've got this issue that comes down around the kneecap here. So to keep continuous tension on this iliotibial band, first of all, and this would go directly on the skin, I'm going to go just directly 2 fingers above the kneecap, and I'm just going to put one basic lining of a bandage as a bit of a, I suppose, bed for the tape. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my strapping tape, okay, and I'm going to use this just to tension up across the top of the bandage. So I just go straight across here like this, and I get a bit of tension, and you can see that tension starting to apply. And this here is for when you have, I'm going to go around twice, okay, for when you have ITB syndrome. Just basically rip the tape. This can be adjusted on the fly, continual tension, not so tight that it cuts circulation off, but this will help you get to the finish line with ITB syndrome. Okay, one of our other important, I suppose, injuries or fatigue management situations is around chafing. And I tell you, if I could take you back to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, first aiding at places like the Numbinbar Hall or in Brisbane through some of the events, some of the things I've seen would really make you shake. So chafing is important to manage as it comes on. So we've got 2 trains of thought with chafing. Number 1, just a bit of Vaseline or some, I suppose, Skin Slick or a Triple B product to make sure that you're causing a bit of glide on that skin so there's no friction. Or number 2 is to just tape up the areas. And I know this isn't very attractive, but putting some tape over nipples is also really important. Under the arms here as well, to where you might have your HydroPack rubbing. And this occurs because you sweat, and sweat is very abrasive, so you might not be used to this. So taping the areas or using some Vaseline on the areas to prevent the chafing is also one of those really important pre-preventative measures for the Kokoda Challenge, Brisbane or the Gold Coast. Okay, so another important part of doing an endurance event is to make sure that you stay fully hydrated through the event. Now, I like to think of this as pre, during and after as well. So the week leading into a large endurance event, make sure that you're drinking plenty of fluids, ideally water, and making sure that your urine is very pale in colour, because if it's not, then you need to drink more water and fluids. Through the event, it can actually get quite cold in some of these areas, so you forget to drink because you're not sweating as much. So our tips with hydration is just to take a little mouthful of a sip about every 10 or 15 minutes, just to continually top up those losses of fluid. We also, I think, like to promote the fact of not just water for hydration, so you can mix a sports drink, but a professional tip from myself is just don't drink straight sports drink. I like to mix it about 50-50 with water, so your stomach can actually, get it through a little bit at a time, and it's not so hard on the stomach. Once you've finished these events or your training sessions, please make sure that you hydrate effectively after this, and this will help you recover and get ready for your next big session so you're ready to start these great events. Okay, so my final top expert tips for the Kokoda Challenge are: number 1, get your entire team to the finish line. And that's going to require courage, mateship, sacrifice and endurance. And remember, using that Kokoda spirit and the Anzac spirit, come on, get your mates home to the finish line. That's a big part of what we do at this event. Number 2, make sure you get your whole team involved in your planning. So planning your checkpoints out, planning what time frames you're going to be there, because if there's going to be support crews in longer events, they're going to need to know where to get to, okay? And make sure that everyone's positive. We don't want any negative talk. And a big analogy that we use when we do these events in very fast times over this sort of terrain is you are getting on a bus for this event. You want to make sure that your entire team is no more than a bus length apart. Anyone gets down the back of the bus, go down and get them. Anyone goes further up the front, go and get them, and keep your team together, because you are doing this as a team for the Kokoda youth. So get into it. So I hope you've enjoyed some of these expert tips from the team at First Aid Accident Emergency in conjunction with the Kokoda Challenge and Kokoda Youth Foundation. If you want any more information on any of this, we have a whole world of blogs that we put together on our website, which will show you the link. We also have some great products that we put up, like things like the strapping tape that's tried and tested for this event. We're doing these. We're also doing some mini first aid kits for you as well. So if you need anything, Go and check out our blogs and our websites with all our additional videos from the past 13 years of trialling all this information.
My name's Joy. I work here at the Kokoda Youth Foundation. I'm talking to you today about being a support crew, which is the most awesome experience. I've been a support crew myself in the past. And first things first is each of your support crew team members does need to register. So go online and register your team on our Kokoda Challenge website. So 3 areas I want to talk to you about is food preparation, supporting your team, and having the equipment that they need. For those preparing the food, really concentrate and keep your food well stored. Don't have it out of the fridge too long. The last thing you want to do is bring your team down because the food storage hasn't been up to scratch. So definitely have an esky with ice and just keep your food in there, keep it out of the sun, and you should be good. Each team member, if they have their own tub and have all their gear in there. So if you think you're not going to need a jumper, pack 2, I would say, because I've seen people come into a checkpoint, no jumper, and have had to walk out freezing cold. Raincoat, change of clothes, pair of socks, extra pair of socks. Even some people like to have a spare pair of shoes. If it's raining, you might just need a whole new change of clothes. Definitely have chafing cream, blister packs, very important, and other first aid bits and pieces that you might like to have on hand. When it comes to you supporting your team members when they come to the checkpoint, don't have them in your checkpoint any longer than 20 minutes. That's the maximum time. In that time, you just need to make sure that they're comfortable, they get their rest, they eat, fill up their water packs for them, help them with their first aid, things they might need if they've got chafing or if they've got blisters, because you're preparing them for their next leg, and you know the next leg of that trip's probably going to be up and down hills, and who knows how far they've got to walk. Headlamps, of course, your high vis and your jumpers if you're going to be walking into the night. Keep your team members motivated. You are just there to support them. Don't try and hold them back because you want to spend time with them and hear about their trip that they've already started, the first leg. Just help them prepare for their next leg. An important thing to note is that you can only access your team members at a support crew checkpoint. There's no trying to access your team members along the track somewhere, or if you figure out you can get to them somewhere, you just can't do it. That's up to our medics team, or we've got teams who are roaming around the track who can access people who might be injured, exhausted, run out of water, whatever the problem might be. If you do try to access your team member, there's instant disqualification. We just can't have people out roaming around on our tracks. Another thing to be mindful of is at the start, you're going to be very excited because your team members have run off, but we can't have everybody driving up off to Bellbird Grove at checkpoint 2-3, which is the support checkpoint. The parking space just won't cope with it. So what we're asking everyone to do is just stay at the start line. There's plenty of resources there. There's a little cafe just across the road. We're going to have food vans and stuff around. There's plenty of space where you can kind of treat it as a little bit of a picnic. Now the competitors, as they're trekking, will come across a sign just out from Bellbird Grove that will say to them, contact your support crew now. So they'll send you a text. Be like, okay, you can head up to Bellbird Grove now, and that's the time to go. And if you do head straight up there from the start, you know, you see your competitors off, jump in the car and drive up, you'll be turned away because we just can't have all those cars sitting around waiting. And who knows what time your competitors are going to come through. So yeah, please just hang out at the start line, or if that seems a little bit kind of, you don't want to do that, head into town or something, because it'll be a few hours. And if you pace, your team will be pacing their times, so you'll have a bit of an idea from your competitors what time they expect to get to Bellbird Grove. So use that as a bit of a guideline. But you don't want to be too far away to miss out on seeing them coming to the checkpoint. So that's why we're encouraging you just to stay at the start line. I just need to make a point to you guys about when and where to meet your team when it comes to their support crew checkpoint. Your team will actually walk up and go through checkpoint 2, do the loop of the 48k and come back down, and it's at this point that checkpoint 3 is when you'll meet them at Bellwood Grove. Now, as they do walk up through checkpoint 2, they'll call you at that time and say, okay, we've just gone through checkpoint 2, it's time to drive up and meet us as we come back around, and that's when you can set up and wait for your team to come in to support them. And another point is there's some really cool apps out there that you can use that to find your team, like where they're actually trekking, depending on your phone. I know there's one called Find Your Friend. And just bear in mind that you do have internet dropouts, so it's not something to rely on, but it's maybe just a little fun thing as you're sitting around waiting for your team. You'll be able to see where they're walking. And once that you see them at checkpoint 3 and support them for their 20 minutes only, no going over that, because you don't want their legs to start freezing up, or you just need to keep them moving. You won't see them again until the finish line, so have yourself sorted for waiting for your team at the finish line. Really enjoy the experience. Your team off having the experience of doing the actual track, but you're having your very own experience being a support crew member, so enjoy the ride.
Alright guys, so we have a few frequently asked questions out there that I'd just like to clarify for you all. If you do have any specific questions, please contact me at any time. So that's info@kokodachallenge.com, or give us a buzz. I'm happy to help you guys with anything that you might need. So the first one is waivers. Waivers are absolutely compulsory for every single team member, guys. So log on to your dashboards. There's a little icon there that says sign waiver. Simply click that, sign your waiver, and you're all good to go. Now these were due over a week ago, so if you haven't done it, please get on there as soon as possible. If your waivers aren't signed, you will not be able to start the event. As for school kids, all your waivers are organised by your team captains. Again, if you've not signed a waiver, please contact your team captain as soon as possible, or you do risk losing your spot in the event as well. T-shirts, so all of our t-shirt sizing is complete already. So if you have not put in a t-shirt size, unfortunately, we might not be able to cater to your needs. We'll try our hardest to get you the shirt size that you want on the day, but we will just give you a generic sizing if you haven't put that in. T-shirts are available for collection at pre-registration and registration as well. So that's when you collect your shirts. Unfortunately, they won't be available to pick up before these dates, as we do organise it in terms of packs for your teams. If you do wish to come and receive your packs before pre-registration as well, please just let us know, as this can be organised for you too. Withdrawals. So you're more than welcome to cancel your team if something happens. We understand that you might get injured, things can happen, everybody's situation is different, and we're more than understanding of that. As per our terms and conditions of 2021, all fees, registration fees and donations will just be kept by us if you do decide to cancel your team. If you have any special circumstances, please reach out. We try and be more than understanding for you guys, but these are the terms and conditions this year, and this is what allows us to actually run our events and continue to change the lives of young Australians as well. If you have any concerns, just reach out. Staying together on the track. So the Kokoda Challenge is all about your team and your team endurance. So we like to encourage the 4 pillars of the Kokoda spirit. That is courage, endurance, makeshift, and sacrifice. So to go ahead and start the event, you do need a full team there to cross that start line, and your finishing time is not recorded until your last teammate crosses that finish line. So please try and stick together throughout. If you do have a team member that gets injured during the event, that is okay. You just follow the protocols that will be given to you on the day for withdrawing a team member, and then you can continue on without them. Again, you must follow these protocols just so we don't go out looking for this team member, and so we can record your finishing time when your new team crosses that finish line without that member. And pre-registration and registration. This is where you collect all of your packs, so please ensure you are prepared to either arrive early the day of the event or attend the pre-registration the day before the event. We highly encourage you do go to pre-registration, that way you won't feel as rushed the morning of the event. If you go to pre-registration the day before, be sure to bring your packs with you. So you need those bibs to start, guys. We have had in the past, people go to pre-registration, forget the bibs the next day. Unfortunately, without the bibs, you can't compete. So if you come to pre-registration, bring your bibs along, you'll be much more prepared, or you can also do your registration the morning of as well. Be sure to arrive at least an hour early to accommodate for this too. We really are looking forward to seeing you guys out on the track, and if you have any questions, queries, concerns, contact me at any time. That's info@kokodachallenge.com, or give us a call. We cannot wait to see you go out and absolutely destroy it with your team.
Thank you all for watching the 2021 Kokoda Challenge Brisbane briefing video. I hope you're all well informed and excited about the amazing feat you will be completing on the 5th of June. Before we sign off, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our amazing sponsors and supporters who make this event possible. A big shout out to our gold sponsor for 2021, Technology One Limited. Another thank you to Accor Hotel Groups who sponsor our On the Right Track program, and our trekking partner, Getaway Trekking and Adventure. A reminder to all competitors who are still seeking gear to compete in the challenge this month that Kathmandu are kindly offering all Kokoda Challenge competitors up to 50% discount on trekking gear. You just need to present the barcode that was circulated on an email to all competitors earlier this month. Finally, if you'd like to commemorate your Kokoda Challenge experience, please check out the merchandise available on the Kokoda Challenge website. We have hoodies, water flasks, coffee cups, beanies, and caps available. If we have not covered all your questions today, please feel free to give our office a call weekdays or drop a line to info@kokodachallenge.com. Good luck for your final weeks of training, and I can't wait to see you all at the start line. Thank you.